Hello, good morning everyone. Very welcome to Babycode Free IELTS classes. I am Tanu Vermani, an IDP certified trainer and a TEFL to Solve certified trainer. So I am back here with my live session number 9, which is about the complete IELTS speaking test. आज हम full length speaking test करने वाले हैं. हमने 8 sessions करे जिसमें हमने discuss करा about part 1 introduction. First of all, introduction to IELTS speaking की speaking module क्या होता है. Then we discuss about part 1 like your familiar questions introduction round. Then part 2 Q card topic, part 3 part. Then we discuss about linking words, how to connect your ideas. Then we talked about different idioms to use in your test. हाउ टू स्कोर बैंक 8 और 9, कैसे आप अपने आंसर को 8 और 9 में कन्वर्ट करते हो, व्हाट आर द स्ट्रैटेजीज यू नीड टू नो, व्हाट आर द टिप्स यू नीड टू नो, व्हाट आर द डूज एंड डोंट्स ऑफ स्पीकिंग मॉड्यूल, राइट. तो आज हम कर रहे हैं कंप्लीट स्पीकिंग टेस्ट. ये कंप्लीट स्पीकिंग टेस्ट कैसे होता है और कैसे आपको आंसर देना है so that you can score higher. I don't want my students to score only average band level of 5.5 or 6 or maximum 6.5. What I suggest my student is कि you should score more than 7.5, right? So let's start. आज का सेशन हम स्टार्ट करते हैं and the topic is complete speaking test. So कैसे आपका स्पीकिंग टेस्ट कंडक्ट होता है? Let's start it. Now you know that IELTS speaking test has 3 parts. Part 1 में examiner आपसे क्या पूछने वाला है? First they will introduce, then they will ask you to show your identity, आपका कुछ identification, कुछ ID card, right? And then they will ask you some general questions. और उसके बाद आपके क्या आते हैं? General questions आते हैं familiar topics से related. So let's start our part 1 of speaking test. Okay, so I hope you all are ready. Okay, so the very first question which examiner asks is, what is your full name? I am Tanu Lakhani Virmani. You can call me Tanu. Can I see your ID? Yes, definitely, here it is. Where are you from? I am from Kanyakumari, the underlying beauty of India in the state of Tamil Nadu. It is also known as Cape Comorin and is also known as the land end of India. So your general questions are done. Now he will start with the familiar topics. Now let's talk about home. Do you live in a house or a flat? I live in a house which is located on the outskirts of a small town. I have lived there for almost 5 years with my parents. Which is your favorite room? Probably the sitting room. To be honest, we all spend most of our time in the sitting room because it's the coziest room in the house. It's much nicer than all other rooms in our house. Can you describe it? Well, it's not particularly large, but even so, it feels quite spacious. There are two huge comfy sofas, an open fire, which we light in the dark winter months, and on the walls there are some rather beautiful oil paintings of country scenes from the area where we live. It's quite a pretty room, lots of natural light. If you could improve one thing in your house, what could it be? What would it be? Well, if I could change just one thing, I would probably choose to change my bedroom. At present, it's rather small with almost no view at all. If I could alter it in any way, I would enlarge it to have a private study area where I could do some work, and I would improve the view by planting some lovely trees and shrubs outside the window. I think being able to sit at a window and see nature is really important. Next, let's talk about film. Do you enjoy watching films? Oh, yes. I am a bit of a film fanatic actually. I watch films most weekends and quite often during the weeks as well. I much prefer films to TV programs. What kind of films do you like the most? I really like a wide variety of film genre, but if I had a choose to if I had to choose a type of film, I would say I mainly go for suspense, psychological thrillers. In fact, some of my favorite films are the old Hitchcock films. He really was the master of suspense. Did you watch much TV as a child? No, I didn't. My parents encouraged us. That's my brother and me to spend time outdoors rather than sitting inside watching TV. So we only ever had a chance to watch the TV for an hour each evening before we went to the bed. I can't say it was very common because most of my friends watched lots of TV. Are foreign films popular in your country? No, they are not really that popular compared to the domestic films. I mean, there are some Asian films from India and China, as well as some films from Europe as well. But I think having to read the subtitle puts people off watching them. It's shame really because I think it's important for people to watch more foreign films in order to learn about the cultures. Okay, let's talk about greeting people. How would you greet someone who was visiting your house? Well, I would probably welcome them into the house, offer them a cup of tea. That's usually the way it's done in my country. We don't really have any formal way of welcoming people. Would you greet an old friend and a stranger in the same way? No, definitely not. If it's a close friend who I have known for a long time, I give them a hug and a kiss. But if it's a stranger, I would either shake hands with them or just say, hello, nice to meet you, and nothing more. How do you meet new people? I mainly meet new people through friends. Whenever I have dinner with a friend, there's nearly always someone there that I haven't met before. And that's how I usually extend my circle of friends. Do you think first impression are important? Oh, yes. From the first time you set eyes on someone, you already form some kind of an opinion about them, about their lifestyle, their background, or what kind of person they might be. That's why I always think it's really important to give a good impression when you meet someone for the first time. So you can see that how the candidate has given answer. So this is the end of part one of speaking test. Let's move towards the part two. Now you know that part two is a cue card topic. Now let's start part two of speaking test. So in part one, there were three topics which was covered. Films, hometown, a house or a flat, that means home. Then you have the films and then you have your greeting people. Let's start with part two now. Okay, now examiner will say that I would like to move on. How I'm going to give you a topic to talk about. Here is some pen and paper with you. You have 1 minute to make notes and then you need to prepare or speak for 2 minutes. Now, here is the cue card. Cue card says a holiday you recently had. Now you have to describe a holiday you recently had, where you went, who you went with, what you did there, and why you enjoyed it. Now your timer starts for 1 minute. You can make your notes in that 1 minute and then next 2 minutes you have to speak. Okay, now the 1 minute is up. You have to speak for 2 minutes, right? So let's start. I would like to talk about a holiday that I took to the south coast of England just 2 months ago. I went to a small village in a coastal region called Cornwall. It's really well known for its dramatic coastal scenes, stunning landscape, and also for its tasty food. I went with my parents who had never been to this area of England before. They always wanted to go but just never had the chance because of work commitments. Anyway, Cornwall is quite far from where we live. So we decided that it would be better to fly there rather than take a car. The roads and the traffic are notoriously bad in that part of England. On our arrival, when we got to the little village, we found our way to the cottage we had booked, which overlooked the sea. I can't tell you how gorgeous it was there. It was just lovely. The windows of my room overlooked a little harbor, and I could see all the boats coming in and out and all the seagulls flying around. We spent most of our holiday sightseeing. We visited all the local towns and villages and tried most of the local delicacies such as fresh crab and lobster. My father is a keen fisherman, so he did a bit of fishing while my mother and I relaxed in little cafes, somewhere just chatting with locals. It was so relaxing. I think the thing I'll remember most about holiday will be just how friendly and welcoming all the locals were. It felt like home from home. By the time we finished the 2 week holiday, we had made lots of friends, and I'm sure we'll keep in touch. If I ever get the chance to go back, I would love to go and possibly stay longer. Maybe for a chance to go back, maybe for a few months. There is so much of the countryside that we didn't explore. So there still be plenty to see when we return. And that is the end of your QCA topic. Now let's start with part 3. So how he has organized his idea, he covered all the bullet points, all the 4 bullet points. So you can also cover. If you do not have idea how to speak about the 4 bullet points, you can just talk related to the topic. Do not go off the topic here. Let's start with part 3 of speaking test. Here examiner wants you to describe in detailed manner, more in depth, right? Now I would like to talk more about holidays and traveling because the QCA topic was about holidays. So, if you had the chance to travel anywhere, where would you go? That's really difficult for me to answer because there are so many places I would like to go. But I suppose if I had to pick a place, I would choose India, mainly because of the incredible landscape and also because of the fascinating culture there. I always like to go to countries which have a rich culture steeped in history, and India certainly has that. I think I'll be blown away by the colors, the sounds, and the aroma of amazing food and by the local people. I have heard that locals are very welcoming and hospitable to foreigners. I think going to India would be a dream come true for me. Why do you think some people like to travel alone? Well, I suppose one reason could be that when you travel alone, you are completely free to do exactly what you want. You don't need to consider anyone else when you're planning your itinerary or when you change it. It can be quite annoying not to be able to do exactly what you want when you are on a holiday. Also, another reason why some people might prefer traveling alone is that it's easier to make friends and meet people. What I mean is, other people are much more likely to start chatting to you. when you are on your own than if you are already with someone. So, traveling on your own can be more exciting and more interesting. Next question. Do you think travel has changed much over the last few decades? So, this is about comparison now. Yes, I do. It's changed beyond all recognition, really. In the past, only wealth people are able to travel, not only because of the expenses, but also because of the time it took to travel long distances. It could sometimes take days to go from one culture to another. That would either have to travel over land or by sea. Nowadays, of course, there are budget flights all over the world and anyone can afford to travel. Travel has become so cheap that it's often cheaper to travel abroad than in your own country. So, not only is it easier to travel, it is also more accessible to the average person. How does travel change people? I guess it changes people in a number of different ways. For the individual traveler, it gives them a chance to learn about how other people live and other culture. This helped them to become more tolerant and accepting of differences, which is really important nowadays in a time when there is so much tension between culture and religion. Also, travel can affect the local cultures a lot. What I mean is, it brings foreigners to more remote places in the world where previously there was little outside contact. This can also change the way they earn money and the type of work they do, as instead of doing traditional jobs, they focus more on making money from the tourist industry. I think that's a quite worry actually, because if there is a sudden drop in the number of people traveling, local culture will suffer as a consequence. Do you think there are any disadvantages to the modern travel? Yes, for sure. I think the main drawback is, of course, pollution, air pollution, because there are so many budget flights these days, and it has really increased the number of people traveling by plane and the number of flights each day. This has led to serious problems with air pollution, which affects the entire world, not just the country with the most flights. So I think this is a major world problem and really needs to be addressed either by reducing the number of flights or finding a cleaner energy resource. Another disadvantage is that people are able to move so easily from one country to another that they almost forget they're in a new country. I mean, if you take Thailand as an example, many tourists are so busy just having fun and doing what they want that they forget they are in a relatively traditional culture and they act and dress inappropriately. I think that really is a quite disadvantage of modern travel. And this is the end of your complete speaking test. So now you can see that how your speaking test will be conducted in the exam, how your questions will be asked by the examiner, and how you have to answer those questions. So at the end, if you have any queries, you can drop your queries in the chat box. That means in the comment section afterwards, right? You can see that how 5 questions were asked related to the holidays and traveling, because your Q card topic was about holiday, right? And 2 to 3 topics, familiar topics, will be discussed in the part 1. So now you can practice the same way on Babycode application. Do the multiple tests, check your scores, let me know that how much score you are improving. चेक करो अपने स्कोर को, कितना आपका स्कोर इंक्रीज हो रहा है, मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में बताओ कि फर्स्ट टेस्ट में कितना स्कोर था, प्रैक्टिस के बाद सेशंस को देखने के बाद कितना आपका स्कोर इंक्रीज हो रहा है, राइट? सो लाइव एप्लीकेशन है, लाइव स्पीकिंग है, यहाँ पे उसको प्रैक्टिस करो, ठीक है? चेकआउट आर लाइव सेशन, आप लाइव सेशंस को यूट्यूब पे भी देख सकते हो, बेबी कोड की एप्लीकेशन में भी देख सकते हो, कमेंट करो, स्टार रेटिंग दो, सो दैट आई अंडरस्टैंड कि आपको ये वाला सेशन अच्छे से समझ आया। एनी टॉपिक आपको लगता है कि यू आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड, आपको कुछ नहीं समझ आया, ड्रॉप योर कमेंट्स। और किसी भी टॉपिक से रिलेटेड यू वांट मी टू हैव अ सेशन, तो वो भी आप लिख सकते हो। आई विल बी कमिंग अप विद दैट सेशन, मैं वो सेशन जरूर क्रिएट करूंगी एंड आई विल पोस्ट इट। ओके, thank you for watching our live session number 9. So stay tuned for our more live sessions. Okay, stay tuned, and I'll be coming up with another live session very soon. Bye bye. Take care, all of you.